Okay, so let's do the basic algorithms here, right? Before I have the array traversal, right? So let's see here. I can copy, let's just say I'm copy a few of the code here. Did I copy? Okay, here we go. So again, if we want to create an array of size 10, okay, we'll say integer, then square bracket, and then we'll have the array name, and we'll say new, and then integer, give square bracket, and give the size of 10. And we'll start from I equals 0, and then we'll loop over to give the random number for the array, right? So here's the question. Now we want to print the highest and lowest and average grade. Right. So this is a typical, right? How do we know what's the highest grade and what's the lowest grade and what's the average grade for this one, right? So this is a pretty standard questions we normally ask within a set of data, right? So how we do that? So let's just have an integer we'll call highest, okay? And so initially, we'll just assume the highest is the first one. So we'll say 0. Okay, so this is one way we're doing it. And also, we'll say hey, the lowest. It's also the first one. Okay. And we'll create an integer we'll call total is 0. And we'll create a double called average. And initially, it's 0.0, right? So this is all the settings. Now, here is the standard applications. And we'll say for I start from a 0, yes. And I is less than I is less than grades, length. And then I plus plus. Just a minute. Okay. So let's just say we'll say if we'll loop over each one of them. We'll say grades I, right? Let's say if the grades I is greater than the highest, okay? And then we'll reset the highest equals to that grades. Okay. And then if grades I is lower than the lowest, and we'll set the lowest equals grades I. And also we'll update the total equals the grades I. Okay. And then we can actually print out, we can actually calculate the average will be total. We'll change the total, or we'll change this. We'll say total, and then we'll convert the double by, say, how many in what's the size of the grades. Okay. I want to convert this to double is because then we will get the double out. Okay, so I convert the length from the integer, which is 10 to 10.0. So the whole thing will be double. So I will get more accurate output. And now we can print out. So we'll print out system.out.print bang. And then we'll say highest grade is plus string concatenation, and we'll print highest. And same thing, we can do lowest. And change here to lowest. And we'll change average. And we'll change here to average. All right. To see how I did it, right? So you probably asked me to say, hey, why I set this one to be the first one, because this is basically says, if you only have one person, if you have only one person in the class, right? So obviously that that one person both have the highest grade and lowest grade, right? And so let's say we have more students in the class. So we'll just do comparison. So this is again traversal through each of the elements. Okay, so the first one is the first grade is greater than the highest. Of course not, they are equal. So we don't have any update to it. And then same for the lowest grade, right? But if the second person is the grade is higher than whatever the highest so far, which is the first one, then we'll change the highest to the second one. Okay. And same thing, we can compare if at the grade, the second person's grade is lower than the lowest one. If that's the case, then we'll update the lowest one. And pay attention here is that I'm using both if. It's not if else, okay? It's if, because checking the highest and checking the lowest, I need to do both checkings, okay? It's not exclusive. I need to check both ways, right? And then I will add every grade out to get the total grade. And because then I need to do the average, the total grade, it divided by the total number of students in the class, and that's my average, right? Okay, so let me run again. It didn't print out. Okay, I forgot to print out. So let me go back. I need to actually see what I print out. Okay, so I do need this part of the code. I do need this part of the code. So I'm going to copy this over. After they randomly generate this one, and I want to print this out. Okay. And then this is the part of my new code, right? So the rest I just like from the array traverse because I want to see. So let me run again because every time they randomly generate it, so each run will be different. Here we go. So this is the grade for this class, right? 96, 62, 97, etc. So if you look, this whole thing here is that you can see the highest one is 97, which is here, right? If you look over, yes. And the lowest grade, it's a 62. And yes, it is 62, right? And the average, well, we can add this up, you know, if we want to double check it. You can add this up and divide it by 10 to see if we actually get this correct.